The last time 27-year-old Lori Kay Soares Hacking was seen alive in public was on the night of July 18, 2004, when she and her husband, Mark Hacking, dropped by a convenience store in Salt Lake City, Utah, where they lived. The following day, Mark reported Lori missing. As a major search was underway, the worried facade Mark had presented to the world via the media began to crumble. Mark had been deceiving everyone, including his wife, about attending college and being accepted to medical school. Rather than come clean, Mark killed his wife in a last-ditch attempt to cover up his lies. Watch till the end to find the shocking truth behind Lori Hacking's disappearance and the devastating betrayal that led to her tragic death. The investigation into this case showed a web of deceit and manipulation that eventually ended in a horrific act of violence. Lori Kay Soares Hacking was the adopted daughter of Thelma and Geraldo Soares, formerly of Fullerton, California. Lori and Mark both attended Orem High School. Later, they got married and seemed to have a bright future ahead of them. However, Mark's elaborate web of lies began to unravel as he failed to live up to the standards he had set for himself. As Mark's lies started to surface, it became clear that he had been living a double life filled with deception and betrayal. His facade of success and happiness crumbled, revealing a dark and sinister side to his character. The once promising future that Lori and Mark had envisioned together was shattered by Mark's deceitful actions, leading to a devastating end for Lori Hacking. The day of murder. On July 19, 2004, Mark Hacking called 911 to report his wife Lori missing. She was 27 years old at the time. Mark told cops she had left home early for a customary jog in the Memory Grove and City Creek Canyon areas northeast of downtown Salt Lake City, but had not returned home or arrived at work. A woman said she had seen Lori near the Grove that day but later dropped her claim. He called them again at 10:46 a.m. to report that he had found Lori's car parked near the creek where she had gone running. A search began, with numerous volunteers coming up to help. Mark seemed grateful for this help as he spoke in front of television cameras that day. The family had been told Lori was 5 weeks pregnant soon before she went missing. She had given notice at Wells Fargo, where she worked as a stockbroker's assistant, and her last day at work was just a couple of weeks away. The couple planned to move so Mark could attend the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill School of Medicine. Yet police soon saw Mark as a possible suspect. In between his two calls to them, he had said he was trying to find his wife. Instead, detectives learned he had been buying a new mattress. Police found Lori's purse, wallet, and car keys in the couple's apartment, as well as a hunting knife with blood on it. In addition, the driver's seat in Lori's car had been changed for someone taller than her, and there was blood in the back seat of the vehicle. However, police say Mark had lied to friends and family and never finished his undergraduate degree at the University of Utah. The medical school had no record of his having applied. Shortly after his wife's disappearance, Mark was found running naked through the streets and was taken to the hospital for a mental evaluation. By July 21st, Mark and Lori's families learned Mark had not been accepted to medical school and had also lied about graduating from the University of Utah in 2004. In fact, he had dropped out in 2002, though he had claimed to attend classes, study textbooks, and write term papers. He had also traveled nationwide to fake interviews at different medical schools. Family members were stunned. Education was highly valued in Mark's family. His father was a doctor, and his mother was a nurse. On Friday, July 16th, Lori called Mark's medical school to ask about financial help, possibly because she was pregnant. At that point, she was told he hadn't started in medical school, and in fact hadn't even applied. Co-workers saw her in tears before she left work early that day, but she seemed happy again at her going-away party that night, which she attended with Mark. Despite the shocking revelation about Mark's deception, Lori put on a brave face at her going-away party that night. She seemed to be hiding her true emotions as she mingled with guests and celebrated her new chapter. However, deep down, her heart must have been heavy with the realization that the future she had envisioned with Mark was built on lies and deceit. It was later revealed that Lori's worries had been allayed that evening after Mark told her a computer problem at the school was to blame for not including him on its incoming student roster. Lori then left a message for a school administrator saying her husband had straightened everything out. The weight on Lori's heart lifted as she finally understood the misunderstanding that had caused her so much anxiety. She felt relieved and grateful that Mark had taken care of the situation. With a renewed sense of hope for their future together, Lori looked forward to starting this new chapter with a clean slate and a renewed sense of trust in her husband. According to investigators, on the night of July 18th, Lori wrote Mark a note telling him that she planned to leave him after discovering that practically everything Mark had told her about his background was false. She had learned that he never graduated from the University of Utah or applied to medical school. This revelation shattered Lori's trust in Mark and left her feeling betrayed and deceived. Despite the heartbreak, she knew that she needed to prioritize her own well-being and make the best decision for her future. So she decided to leave him. Rather than split, Hacking killed her. Police said that he had done it alone, killing Lori in their apartment with a .22 caliber rifle while she was asleep and disposing of her body in a dumpster. Investigators found blood in several places in the couple's apartment, including on a knife found in the bedroom, on the top of the bed, and in Lori's car. In addition, Scott and Lance Hacking, Mark's brothers, claimed that Mark admitted to murdering his wife after they confronted him on July 24, 2004. The evidence pointed to Mark as the culprit, and his brothers confirmed his guilt. The brutal murder shocked the community, and Lori's loved ones were left devastated by the senseless loss of her life. Mark's betrayal and violence shattered any remaining faith Lori may have had in him, proving that leaving him was the only choice she could make for her own safety and well-being. It was a tragic end to a relationship that had once seemed full of promise and love. On October 4, 2004, at approximately 8:20 a.m., hunters found human remains in the Salt Lake County landfill. By that afternoon, police had confirmed that the remains were those of Lori Hacking. Searchers found the carpet that Mark admitted to rolling her body into before putting it in the dumpster. On April 15, 2005, Hacking pleaded guilty to first-degree murder in return for prosecutors dropping other charges. On June 6, 2005, Hacking was sentenced to 6 years to life in prison, the highest possible sentence under Utah law at the time. In Utah, prison sentences are indeterminate, with a minimum and maximum time range. The offender must serve the entire term unless the Utah Board of Pardons releases him sooner. Normally, those convicted of first-degree murder are needed to serve a minimum of 5 years before they can be considered for parole. However, because Hacking killed Lori with a firearm, the minimum was raised by 1 year. In July 2005, the Utah Board of Pardons declared that Mark Hacking would not be considered for parole until at least 2035, meaning that Hacking would have to spend a minimum of 30 years in prison. The Soares family took the name Hacking from Lori's headstone. On March 20, 2006, Utah House Bill 102, also known as Lori's Law, was signed into law. It stipulates that people convicted of first-degree murder in Utah must spend at least 15 years before they can be considered for parole. The decision by the Utah Board of Pardons was met with relief by the Soares family, who felt that justice was finally being served for Lori's senseless murder. They were grateful for the support they had gotten from the community throughout the years, and they hoped that this decision would bring them some closure. Despite their pain and loss, the Soares family stayed strong and united in their quest for justice for Lori. They would never forget her and were determined to keep her memory in their hearts forever. Guys, that's all for today. If you love this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Thank you for watching.